By law, Counsellors of State include the sovereign's spouse and the next 4 people in the line of succession who are over the age of 21. Currently, they are listed as Prince Charles, Prince William, Prince Harry, and Prince Andrew. Counsellors of State are authorised to carry out most of the official duties of the Queen, for example, attending Privy Council meetings, signing routine documents, and receiving the credentials of new ambassadors to the United Kingdom. Due to the fact Prince Harry and Prince Andrew are no longer working royals, they can no longer carry out the duties of Counsellor of State. Charles and William are still listed under the role, but both heirs are extremely busy and have been given increased responsibility since the Queen has been told to rest by doctors. Royal expert Rafe Heydel Mankoo discussed the role on GB News with host Colin Brazier. Mr. Brazier said, "Some of the older royals, the extended members of the royal family, the Duke of Gloucester etc., are very hard working and have done sterling work over the years, but are getting on a bit. Will people look at someone like Princess Beatrice and think, there's someone we can relate to? All the other monarchies of Europe have set abdications of around 75. When you even have the Pope, Cardinal Ratzinger, abdicating, there may come a time in 40 years where Prince William decides we need to get the nation around a new, young monarch. The next in line and over the age of 21 is Princess Beatrice, but the role may not necessarily be given to her. Camilla is likely to be given the role as it would be passed to her when Charles becomes king. Charles, William, Camilla and Kate will however be there and have been dubbed the new Fab Four as they take on the Queen TMS duties after she announced last week that she was too ill to attend. Meghan and Harry are outspoken on the issue of climate change, but their work risks being overshadowed by the global summit. It comes as Meghan and Harry have been said to have isolated themselves from the royal family after they chose to leave the firm last year to focus on Meghan TMS mental health. Royal author Tom Bower said, "Harry and Meghan have totally isolated themselves. They seem to think they will be stronger by cutting people out, but they really just alienating their families. I believe Meghan is a very stubborn person, but I think eventually even she realize that this isolated world she and Harry have built for themselves, was a poisonous choice." Representatives for the Duke and Duchess of Sussex have been contacted for comment. Additional reporting by David Atkins. This live blog has now closed. For our latest visit here. Prince Harry reportedly told sources he feels helpless, as he is in the US while his 95-year-old grandmother has been in hospital in London. The Queen's admission to King Edward VII's hospital shone a light on her busy schedule in the last few weeks, and has sparked calls for younger royals to step up, taking pressure off the Queen. The family have reportedly been supporting her at Windsor Castle, where she is under doctor's orders to rest. Royal expert Christina Garibaldi spoke of the Queen's recent health scare on US Weekly. Ms. Garibaldi said, "The royal family is supporting the Queen after her recent health scare. The royal family is rallying around Queen Elizabeth after she spent the night in the hospital, with a source telling us that they are urging the 95-year-old to take it easy, but she refuses to listen." They added that the royals went into a state of panic when they heard the Queen was admitted to the hospital. She added, "They are taking turns to call her daily and visit her at Windsor Castle." On October 20th the Queen stayed overnight in the hospital after reluctantly cancelling a trip to Northern Ireland. In a statement, Buckingham Palace said, following medical advice to rest for a few days, the Queen attended hospital on Wednesday afternoon for some preliminary investigations, returning to Windsor Castle at lunchtime today, and remains in good spirits. A source tells us that Prince William and Duchess Kate sent a huge bouquet of flowers while her great-grandchildren sent well wishes and cards. As for Prince Harry, a source tells us that he went into panic mode when he heard that his beloved grandmother was in the hospital. He felt helpless being 5,000 miles away in Montecito, and has been checking in with her non-stop, a source told US Weekly. Just 6 days after the Queen was hospitalized she was back to work via Zoom. A source told US Weekly, "The Queen is finally acknowledging that she won't be around forever and needs to slow down." Queen heartbreakers monarch forced to give up beloved pastime after discomfort. Queen TMS dressmaker named royals trademark favorite trend-setting looks worn by Kate and Diana. She's not a quitter and will continue working, but is handing some of her duties to Charles and William, and is preparing them to take over. Buckingham Palace have since announced that the Queen will not be attending COP26 in Glasgow next week, and will join remotely to show her presence. Joining instead will be Prince Charles, Camilla, Prince William, and Catherine. Meghan, 40, and her husband, Prince Harry, 37, have 2 children together, Archie, 2, and Lilibet, 4 months. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex stepped back from their royal duties last year and moved to California, where Meghan grew up. The Duchess used her royal platform last week as she wrote to senior Democrats, urging them not to compromise or negotiate over paid leave. Her message came as US President Joe Biden TMS administration prepared to scale back the new Build Back Better Act. The preliminary bill is now set to include only 4 weeks of paid leave rather than the 12 weeks initially floated by Democrats. The new legislation attempts to address the lack of support for new parents and families in the US. The US is said to be the only developed nation that does not offer a national paid parental leave program. However, Meghan TMS intervention into the politics of her country has been criticized by some commentators. Her letter, addressed to House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, was labeled problematic by Daily Mirror royal editor Russell Myers. However, he also urged people not to be too harsh on Meghan, as the cause is a noble one. Speaking on royal podcast Pod Save the Queen trademark, hosted by Zoe Forsey, he claimed that Meghan TMS letter was controversial because of her royal role. He said, "Now obviously, the issue is, when you actually see the letter, Meghan is writing this to 2 elected officials in the United States whilst using her Duchess of Sussex title. It is on letter-headed paper from the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, which is problematic. I think that does raise an awful lot of questions about the royals entering politics. Certainly, in a foreign country, regardless of whether Meghan is American or not. She is a member of the royal family, and you certainly couldn't get a member of the royal family here in the UK getting away with something like that, being so explicit. Members of the British royal family are not supposed to become involved in political matters as a matter of protocol. Royals often have a thin line to tread, speaking out about issues they care about whilst being careful to maintain the neutrality of the monarchy. On the flip side, Meghan is no longer a working royal and her unprecedented position poses new questions about what she and Harry should be able to do post-royal life. Recent reports have suggested that Meghan could even be planning to run for US president in the next decade. Tom Bauer, who is writing an unauthorized biography of the Duchess, put the idea forward in a column for The Sun in July. He claimed that Meghan may use her friendship with US Vice President Kamala Harris and the Obamas in her possible bid for the White House. Speaking on the podcast, Mr. Myers also addressed the idea that Meghan may seek elected office in the US. He said, "Maybe we have turned a tide, but does she harbor political ambitions? I'm not too sure. I think there are other things she's probably more interested in doing." The journalist and commentator also praised Meghan for highlighting the issue of paid leave, which he said had been bubbling under the surface for millions of Americans for a long time. He said, "This is a very laudable cause, a very noble cause, and I think for the benefit of all parents in the United States. I'm sure that millions of people would wish that they had a better deal out of it." To subscribe to Pod Save the Queen, go to your normal podcast provider.